And now WHIZ TV reports the latest news and information from around our area. The complete weather outlook for southeastern Ohio and an up-to-the-minute sports picture for this region and the world. WHIZ TV is your information leader.
Good evening. It was day 2 of President Bush's Spirit of America whistle-stop train tour today. The President and Mrs. Bush spent the day visiting cities across the state of Michigan. The Bushes attended church this morning in Livonia, then headed on to their next stop in Wixom. From the train platform, Bush told the crowd that Bill Clinton's proposed tax programs are a serious threat to America.
This guy's environmental programs are terrible, but there's one thing worse, and I'm talking about his tax and spend policy. Governor Clinton wants to do for the national economy what he's done for Arkansas. And if you look at his record, you'll see that that's not a promise, it is a threat.
The train tour headed on to Holly, Michigan, where Bush told supporters that Clinton's tax and spend policies are completely wrong for America.
This campaign, he's proposing $150 billion in new taxes. That's not counting what taxes that he put on small business for health care, plus at least $220 billion in new spending. But don't worry about that. He says it's all going to come from the rich guys, the top 2%. But the problem is, and here's the real truth on it, to get the money he needs for his plan, the $150 billion he's promised in new taxes, Governor Clinton would have to raise tax rates on every individual with incomes over $36,600 a year.
President Bush wrapped up his 230-mile train trip in Grand Blanc. He took time out there to criticize Clinton's environmental policies. The President and Mrs. Bush returned to Washington this evening. His 2-day Truman-esque train trip was designed to help him come from behind in the polls. He spent the first day touring the Buckeye State. Ohio and Michigan are both critical states in this year's election. Meanwhile, Democratic presidential candidate Bill Clinton started his day with a jog through Little Rock, Arkansas, and a 10-point lead in the latest presidential poll. Clinton then left for Iowa, where he appeared at Senator Tom Harkin's annual steak fry fundraiser. Clinton told the group there that the Republicans are leading America in the wrong direction.
They're out there making these arguments this year that we just ought to vote for him because what he says sounds right. Reminds me about that sign on the old country road. George Jones, veterinarian taxidermist, either way you get your dog back.
Clinton picked up another important endorsement this weekend. Retired NBA superstar Magic Johnson announced he is supporting Clinton's run for the White House. We'll have more on Johnson's announcement, plus details on why he left the AIDS Commission a little later in the newscast. Both President Bush and Bill Clinton are readying themselves for a meeting with Ross Perot aides tomorrow. Clinton and Bush will be sending their top aides to the meeting in Dallas. This session could decide whether or not the Texas billionaire gets back into the race for the White House. Both camps say they are confident that tomorrow's meeting will go in their favor. And in political news, a little closer to home, Democratic vice presidential candidate Al Gore was in Ohio today. Gore was at a senior community center in Akron where he addressed the forum about health care issues. And Bill Clinton is scheduled to be in Columbus on Tuesday afternoon. He's expected to visit the Edison Welding Institute and to give a speech at Ohio State University. When we return, we'll take a look at local news. Plus, we'll have news about a triple shooting that has left one man dead. Stay with us.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Mutual Federal Savings Bank. Expect the difference in banking service.
Financing or refinancing a home is a very important decision, one that should be made only after considering all the facts and benefits to you. I'll be happy to explain in detail the options you have in financing with us. Two very important pluses are your mortgage payments will be made locally and you will have someone you know to talk with when you have a question or problem. For a home loan or refinancing your present home, give me a call.
We have an update tonight on a story we first reported to you last night. One man is dead and 2 other people remain hospitalized after a triple shooting that occurred in Salesville yesterday morning. Guernsey County officials say they responded to a domestic call and found 3 people shot. Hospital officials say 44-year-old John Dougherty was pronounced dead at Guernsey Memorial Hospital yesterday. 41-year-old Robert Voorhees is listed in stable condition tonight at Barnesville Hospital, and Judy Voorhees remains in serious condition at Ohio Valley Hospital in West Virginia at this hour. Authorities say they have recovered a rifle and a pistol believed to have been used in the shootings. The incident is still under investigation and no charges have been filed yet. Vintage car buffs from around the area had a chance to view a wide range of cars dating back to the early 1900s today. The bright sunshine reflected off the perfectly polished cars displayed at the National Road Zane Gray Museum. More than 30 antique car owners traveled from Muskingum and surrounding counties to show off their classy wheels.
This is our 9th annual Antique Auto Motor Inn, and this is our way to commemorate the second great era of the National Road. The National Road went into a period of decline when the railroads came along, and with the invention of the automobile, the road came back and eventually became part of U.S. Route 40, a coast-to-coast highway.
One of the oldest cars on display was a 1914 Model T Ford. Its proud owner is Edgar Wilson of Malta.
Since 1951, and it was stored in an old barn 19 years before I got it, and I got it and had it since then. We'd make tours with it and shows, and we was at Newark yesterday and here